Hello, everyone. We're doing a silver giveaway for the month of March. I'm going to be giving away another 30 ounces silver of my personal stash for this month. We're going to be choosing the winner at the end of the month. How can you enter? You have to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and comment your silver price prediction for the end of March or your favorite type of silver, and a winner will be chosen at random. Last month, someone won 30 ounces of silver, and their silver is shipped to them, and it's on the way. This month, we're going to do another 30 ounces of silver giveaway. So like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for you to enter. Good luck, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining, and welcome back to Wall Street Bullion. Before we begin, please hit the like and subscribe button. It helps us grow tremendously. Our guest today is a good friend of mine, Yvonne Blaszczyk, President and CEO of BMG Group. Welcome back, Yvonne.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you back on. I really want to get you down to talk about all the craziness that's happening in the world, geopolitically, the Middle East, silver, gold, the overall markets. But first, let's start off with silver and gold. Where are we going right now? With all the conflicts that's going on in the Middle East, where is silver and gold heading?
The silver and gold is fluctuating, which is a typical situation, but is going upward. Of course, the immediate reaction of the market was to strict the US dollar became much stronger, and of course that put the downward pressure on the gold and silver. But it is going up. So far, it's went up and down. Today, as you know, we spoke on Wednesday. The change between today and Wednesday is very small. The platinum went up a bit to $2,100, 2191 from 2170 something or
Hmm.
74, 73. And there's a very good reason for it. As you know, platinum is required to produce explosives and jet fuel. But
Right.
that increase was still very small in comparison to the demand for it. Gold went down a bit, silver went up and down, and that's very normal because what is the buying time? People are buying now, so they can buy gold at discount before the conflict or the war situation gives them more indicators because it's changing every day. So that's my prediction is that gold is going to be $6,000 by the end of the year,
Hmm.
maybe more, but that's I'm being very conservative. Also, today I spoke to various people that are experts on silver. They do believe that the silver is going to push to over $200 within the next 6 months, few months.
Why is that?
There is a lot of situations, supply and demand is
Hmm.
number one. And I think that's a big concern with gold too. The current war and conflict in Iran affects not only oil, but also affects the certain movements of gold from Dubai as well. So there'll be some pressures on supply. But at the end of the day, gold is money. Gold is a pillar of our Western and actually global financial systems, and I think right now the reserves can be replenished or increased with the discount prices on gold. Today it is at $5,130 an
Hmm.
ounce, plus minus. So that's a very good price. As you know, central banks are buying like there is no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Central banks, you can see that they are in a very strong position. Many countries have a huge reserves of gold. We are not in the same situation in North America for a variety of reasons. And there is a lot of pressures in terms of a still lingering from year ago or 2 years ago with the BRICS countries undermining the US dollar as a reserve currency.
Yeah.
That pressure did not go away just because there are conflicts. So that's we are in a very good situation. We're in a great business at this time. However, the world is on fire. This is a very, very unfortunate because we really cannot appreciate the actual consequences of this conflict, this war, and I
Hmm.
think that's very, very critical, very important. China, as you know, they import for themselves about 70% or 80% of oil from Venezuela, Saudi Arabia, Iran. So they control roughly slightly under 50% of global proven reserves.
Right.
So there is a huge risk, substantial risk in terms of the Strait of Hormuz being pretty much under siege, and there is no traffic. There is no um, I think there's huge disruption in it, and not only for oil, because other goods are also being transported through the Strait of Hormuz. So
Right.
that's a very difficult situation. However, there's even more difficult one. Whatever happened created incredibly or deepened the hostilities.
Hmm.
As you know, ideological or religious wars, they are multi-generational.
Right.
This war, this conflict even deepened it. So we don't really know what are the consequences. But the war has expanded to the other countries that China, even it was focused on China. The China is uh, uh, export import, basically getting oil from, which is Saudi Arabia, other Middle Eastern countries. So China is going to be impacted. However, my understanding is that China has huge reserves. They
Hmm.
are prepared for it, but they need to I guess reassess their play in the global forum. All those countries had a sort of agreements, maybe not military, but agreements that are commercial and trade agreements, and they found that China would not be able openly to help them in the military conflicts, which is going to introduce another dimension to the trade agreements in the future, because many countries that are in a conflict situation with the Western world, or they have their own issue, they enter trade agreements hoping that that will create them some sort of a military or other safety umbrella.
Right. Yeah, that's right. But they're not getting it from China.
They're not getting China, they're not getting from Russia. President Vladimir Putin said very clearly BRICS is not the military agreement or coalition.
Right.
It's a commercial coalition, it's trade coalition. The understanding was always that there will be some sort of a significant military support in case of something, or some kind of I guess help in those situations.
Right.
Venezuela was in the same situation. Venezuela was under the impression, I think, and hoping that both China or Russia will be able to assist them with their conflicts with the United States. And you know what has happened.
Hmm.
Actually, not only they were unable, they were not willing to get involved in our part of the hemisphere, but
Hmm.
they also beyond the typical diplomatic protest, and that's what happened with Iran. The other thing that is important was emerged how ineffective United Nations is again.
Yeah, I see. Yeah,
So
that's true.
so this is a huge problem for the historical organizations and coalitions that were built after World War II. And United Nations is a perfect example. And of course, you know who has the veto power. The
Yeah.
countries are in conflict with each other.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a I think it's a structure that outlive its effectiveness at this point. So that could be another consequence. The other consequence is a NATO. How what is the role of NATO vis-a-vis the cost of NATO? Because now everyone is looking at the cost.
Right.
So there's a huge issue. There is a huge issue with, as you know, Hungary is supply of gas, of energy has been disrupted by Ukraine bombing the supply lines.
Right.
That's why they were objecting in terms of supporting some of the motions by European Union in support of Ukraine. So which is plus they intercepted a convoys with millions of euros and gold leaving Ukraine. So the people are kind of wondering with the donating the money when they have issues, poverty and other things in the countries, and the money is just floating into some other private pockets. So
Wow.
this is a something that affects the entire Europe when you listen to what people are saying. At the same time, as you know, US is very powerful and very helpful to a lot of European countries. Like
Right.
France, for example, France with a huge debt exceeding the GDP is a if there was no war, they would have election. So,
Right.
but at the same time, I think the security that the United States has been providing overall by expanding their sphere of influence was a very positive. However, right now are the consequences because um, some places, some actions have a long range consequences, both political and economical. And this one will be very, very complex and complicated. In US, the domestic support is divided, as
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And there were divisions prior to this. Now, some of the election goals or objective of lowering price of oil and everything else in the short term has is totally opposite to what everyone was expecting.
Right.
This morning, I heard that in California, the gallon is $5
Mm-hmm.
at the moment. It could be more. And that's where people, the voters, are looking at. You see, they are responding immediately to what's happening to their pocketbooks.
Right.
And but what happens in terms of the overall strategy or overall positive good things, they are not visible for a very long time. So I think we are heading into some very interesting scenarios. Now, President Trump has insinuating a few days ago that he may just call the war that ended because they have removed the main, I think, objective, which is basically degrade military capability of Iran
Mm-hmm.
and remove the threat of nuclear weapons.
Right. Right.
Unfortunately, it was like poking the hornet's nest because other issues, wars typically have their own momentum. And that's what's happening. With that huge refinery being bombed in Tehran,
Mm-hmm.
and with that a cloud of toxic rain and fallout, that will have a huge impact on global perception, support, and global community. So that's unfortunate, but that has it's a something that politicians will have to deal with.
Right.
From the financial perspective, the I think from the reports that we are getting, the military objective has been achieved. uh, the capability of country that is already been pretty much devastated economically to be capable of creating nuclear weapon is quite is diminished.
Right. Right.
So the main objective is gone. The secondary objective or of a regime change is it's a very interesting because a religion and oil don't mix well because of
Right.
no don't mix well and that war may turn into a religious not secular type of war with the destruction of infrastructure. It just create a very fertile environment for not only internal revolution but also the outbursts towards neighbors, towards external towards other countries. So the world becomes unsafe
Right.
because people become unhinged. They lost everything. They have nothing to lose. I always believe the only person you should be afraid of or that has nothing to lose
Right.
And this is the situation right now. So what will happen? Iran has also a quite a large deposits of rare earth
Minerals.
minerals.
Hmm.
But after what I've observed, that kind of destruction will take years to rebuild or to have any capability of even exploring or working with it. Now, in terms of the actual oil, the usually one would think to avoid to bomb oil wells and refineries.
Yeah, absolutely.
Reasons, because what happens, you cannot make them operational ever, probably.
Hmm.
So you are really affecting a world global economy, not just that particular country.
Right, right,
We're in a situation that I'm not too sure how large is that damage. But in Saudi Arabia, number of targets are being, destroyed or attacked. Fortunately for Europe, as you know, the summer is coming, so the energy issue will not be as severe as in the winter. But that area still has to be addressed. Now, today, just before our discussion today,
hmm
President Trump called Vladimir Putin. So this is very interesting. That means that there are some deliberation on a global scale taking place.
right,
So this is a perhaps that has to do with a actually stopping the war, stopping the bombing. On another on another hand, you have all sorts of reports about possible boots on the ground and intervention. What will do to Israel? Can they stop it or not? Israel involved right now on two fronts, which is not a good idea with the situation with Lebanon.
right.
So all those things will impact us eventually, but immediate impact is only felt by average person at the gas pumps and those kind of places. People that are looking at the humanitarian cost of this conflict, of this war.
Right.
Uh, at the same time, the regime change I alluded to it's extremely difficult. As you know, in Iran, there was, I think, since 1900s, there were about four regime changes.
Right, right,
It was in a constitutional monarchy, which was deemed to be, actually the last Shah, the Raza Pahlavi, was removed from power with the help of Western world because, his governance was, characterized as a very cruel and brutal police state.
yeah,
Then you have a merger or Ayatollah Khomeini that came from the exile from Paris to Middle East, and that was the reaction. We know from history that every time there is a revolution, it starts with people, everyday people, suffering and having nothing to lose.
yeah,
That
absolutely.
was a French Revolution, Russian Revolution, all the revolutions. So you can promote people to or prompt them to act with starving them, with a religious persecution, with taxes, with
Right.
those kind of things, and that's very difficult to manage. So now we have I do believe another same pretty much regime in Iran. Whether it will stay that way or not, but I would suspect that's something that and how they're going to manage the relationship with the West and people that countries that basically um, eliminated any capability for them to have any level of civilized life
Right.
for
Yeah.
years to come. We don't know.
Hmm.
So that's very very problematic. But currency, fiat currency was weak, and U.S. dollar was weak too, because had no since 1971 when. President Nixon decoupled it or removed the gold standard. The only thing, the only commodity that really supported dollar was oil, hence petrodollar. So
Right.
since that time, the dollar has been a really the focal point to maintain it as a reserve currency, to maintain it as a dominant hegemony of dollar in the trading system. Now new threats are coming. Not only the currencies backed by gold, but also a digital currencies and speed of trading. And I think I spoke about it several times.
Yeah.
So the Bretton Woods system, in a lot of ways, was providing strength to a dollar
Hmm.
for many years. So now, what is happening right now? A lot of a lot of politicians look at a oil as a panacea for keeping US dollar in a strong position. And it's right now, the problem is this is not a really the wiser sort of a route,
Right.
because oil is an unstable commodity. The minute the headlines announce some sort of a disruption in oil, it immediately affects the markets. It
Yeah.
immediately affects the financial system. So this is not a stable component. The most stable component for US dollar would be to return to gold standard.
Yeah, absolutely.
Possible. That would be the best thing.
Hmm.
So when you look at the what was happening, and of course this is not a this is a very superficial analysis, but in 2020, when Saddam Hussein announced that he's going to switch oil sales from dollar to euros,
Yeah.
there was a huge fear that perhaps the fall of that regime was associated because of that strategy.
Right.
Then Muhammad Gaddafi was also in Libya, was looking at the Pan-American gold-backed dinar for trade. uh, Maduro in Venezuela was selling oil in other currencies. But those things are not really the main driver. The main driver is to how do we maintain our financial system and the investments in US dollar. Canadian dollar is backed by US dollar.
Right.
US dollar is everywhere. So the weaker US dollar, the weaker is the entire system. And this is a fear that everyone has. So from my perspective, I think the gold is the only answer. The alternative answers is that everyone is looking at is a rare earth elements or
Yeah.
rare earth, because they are natural monopolies that exist right now, but they'll create political tensions. For example, the strategic value of the rare earth minerals is it has grown exponentially, particularly in the technological advancement. And I think I mentioned that to you at some point, that, for example, the single F-35 jet plane requires about over 400 kilograms of rare earth minerals.
Yeah, that's
Green
incredible.
energy, same thing.
Yeah.
Green energy, for example, the wind turbines require about 600 kilograms.
No, yeah,
And
it's crazy. It's
it's
yeah.
unbelievable. So then you look, okay, so if it is not oil, it's only gold, what else? We know right now that the drones do not fly on oil. They don't
Right.
need oil, but they need other elements. So I think there perhaps is a shift, and I think it's a wise shift to look to back dollar with the rare earth elements. So then we look, where are they and how can be utilized. They come in a component composition, and that has to be basically they have to separate them to individual components, and China is very good at doing that. So now, how can I think that be turned to the advantage by having secured resources of the rare earth minerals.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
we know that Greenland has amazing amounts. So does Venezuela around Orinoco River, and gold. They have gold and rare earth minerals. Ecuador, apparently, they say that you walk on gold because you can walk on the river. It's very close to the surface. But there are political situations. There are illegal mines. Cartels control mines. So there is a lot of a need for a having an influence over those countries and to make sure that you secure your own access to those rare and minerals. And one of the wondering things why suddenly Cuba is on the forefront of being, basically influenced by United States, despite the embargo that exists for years and years. Cuba has the largest reserves of nickel in the world.
Hmm.
So it's very, very interesting. But in terms of financial systems, bottom line is that BRICS countries right now hold over 70% of global rare earth minerals reserves.
Yeah.
And so they have gold and they have rare earth minerals.
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
means
Yeah. Yeah.
political agenda, military agenda is followed by that. The other thing is very interesting fact is that the sanctions actually, just like any kind of a strong policy against anything, creates a defense from people. They group together. So the sanctions actually pushed countries like Russia, China, South Africa, and other ones into coalition called BRICS. If there
Right.
was no sanctions, those countries will be separated. So now they have strength, economic strength, and trading strength. And I think the value of gold, in particular, and precious metals, would be in trade. The future of the world would not be military because we can destroy each other just using drones and play on the computers in a safe place. But to have a sustainable systems that of growth, you will require something different. So I think rare earth minerals, the gold is a major component of financial
Hmm.
system, major pillar, and if someone has doubts, they could just follow central banks.
Hmm.
Central banks have an incredibly wise policy of buying gold and have very strong reserves, very large reserves.
Hmm.
Now, everyone says, okay, gold is a safe asset in the times of trouble. It is, but it has been money for 5,000 years. It is money. It's not just a safe asset. It's a money that can create the amazing future for many countries. Um, uh, the interborder trade system that China introduced or developed in what 2014 or 15 became a huge competition for SWIFT. So when there were sanctions and SWIFT was unable to provide trading for the countries on the let's say BRICS members and many countries, the Chinese system very nicely took over.
Hi, I'm Michael Piccioni, founder and president of Can-Am Bullion. At Can-Am Bullion, we are more than just a precious metals dealer. We are your trusted partner in securing your financial future. As an authorized dealer of the Royal Canadian Mint, we take pride in offering only the highest quality gold and silver products. And with our best price guarantee, you can trust that you're getting the most value for your investment. We offer free, no obligation consultations with one of our precious metals experts. Our commitment to excellence has earned us a 5-star Google rating, a shopper-approved seal of approval, and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. These accolades reflect our dedication to transparency, integrity, and exceptional customer service. Are you ready to take the first step towards financial security? Contact Can-Am Bullion today for your free consultation. Let us help you build a brighter future with the power of precious metals.
It's unbelievable. But Yvonne, I really want to get people to connect with you before you go. Where can people find your work? I'll put it in the description below.
They can find us on our website, which can you can put on the bottom of your broadcast. We are available 24/7. What we have amazing, actually, something different that people should know. We don't only have a physical gold, which is money and which is a protection against any kind of a crisis and political economic situation. But we also have mutual funds. A lot
Hmm.
of people say right now, oh my God, if I'm going to pay $5,200 or something for 1 ounce of gold, or in Canada, almost 7,000
Oh
Canadian
yeah.
dollars. People say, oh, well, it's not for me, but it is very easy accessible through our mutual funds that they have only physical bullion in them. So we have three mutual funds. So we have a gold bullion fund that has a only gold in it, and
Right.
every unit has a corresponding amount of gold stored in a LBMA vault. Then we have a silver fund, and we have a fund with gold, silver, and platinum. And you can get all the information about our funds on our website. You can call us anytime you wish, and we'll be able to provide you with all the information you will need to make decisions.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Yvonne. I'll put the links in the description below. We really appreciate you coming down and talking to us about everything that's happening geopolitically. Everyone watching this, please check out BMG. The link will be in the description below. And Yvonne, thank you so much for coming down. As markets develop, we'll love to have you back on.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.